everybody. Choo-hoo! From your boy, Coach V, and the Island City Media family. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Coach V Show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise. Powered by the Island City, where the beach meets the streets. We are bringing in Filipino female executive who was born and raised in the Philippines and migrated here to San Jose, California after her graduation from college, got an MBA, and after maybe checking out the medical field, she then diverged and went over to what she is now working in now. Started from a fryer at Carl's Jr. and now is an executive. She is the senior vice president for the Southwest Division and West Division of Dunkin' Donuts, and the Dunkin' brand, who is owned by Inspire out of Atlanta, Georgia. You're going to love this. Grab a notepad or grab your iPad or your phone and get ready to take some notes. She is sure to bring some major value into your life, leadership, and business. And now a word from our sponsor.
There's another offload from Talapolo for the try-scoring superhero. There's the handoff. Good tackle, though. Here come the Olympic champions again and stepping through.
Welcome to the Coach V Show, your Hollywood radio show for personal development with expert insights and interviews to help you, me, and we work to be our best and live our best life. And offering to you through our featured guests and some of my insights for your consideration, these success frameworks, behavioral models, and life lessons that, should you believe them to be of value to you in your life, leadership, and business, that you subscribe to it and deploy it all over your life, leadership, and your business. Today here on the Coach V Show, powered by Island City, broadcast from Dash Radio Hollywood Studios, I am so excited to have a Filipino executive who is a female, who is Maria Hollandsworth, who is currently the Regional Vice President of Operations for Dunkin's West and Southwest region. She leads a team of 13, and her territory covers 14 states with 78 franchisees who own multiple franchises and individual. She is responsible for accelerating the Dunkin' expansion out west. Previously, Maria served as Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and Operations Services at Jack in the Box, Inc. Maria was born and raised in the Philippines and has been in the United States for over 25 years. She started her career as a fry person and worked her way up to the corporate ladder through hard work and perseverance. Maria is passionate about people development and believes that leading people is a privilege. Through the years, she has mentored hundreds on career mapping and women in leadership. Her favorite quote is from the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. Greatness is a choice. Maria wants to be remembered as an authentic leader by everyone who she crosses paths with. Maria Hollandsworth, sister, thank you so much for taking the time to come here and be featured on the Coach V Show. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Coach V. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the nice introduction as well.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Maria, let's start from the Philippines. Let's talk about your genesis point, your upbringing, and then go from there into migrating here to the United States of America. Maria, what is your genesis point?
Well, I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I went to school there all the way from the beginning and finished my college there. But I had, I have a wonderful parents. My late father was a lawyer, and my mother is a retired home economics teacher, and very devout family, Catholic, people. So we they really instilled a lot of great values when we were growing up. The number one piece is, faith and family. Education was a big part of our upbringing. Discipline, those were all a big part of our growing up in my household.
That's awesome. So shout out to the Philippines. Shout out to all my Pinoy brothers that I play basketball with often. And let's talk the Philippines. Where exactly? What region? What island? Let's talk about where you came from.
Yeah, so I was born in the province of Pampanga. The city is San Fernando, and it's in the biggest island, Luzon. So it's like an hour and a half from Manila, Quezon City as well. And it's a flat land, and mainly farming is the main industry there.
And talk about what brought your parents and you here to the United States.
What really happened was there was a political unrest right after there's 5 siblings in the family. Right after we started finishing our education, there was a political unrest, and my father and my mother made a decision to start moving us one by one to the Philippines, just to get away from the situation there, and that's how we ended up here.
And where did you go, and what were the beginnings and the new beginnings of this?
Yeah,
what I call the American dream, right? I
yeah,
call it the American dream.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you asked that. So we started moving to San Jose, California, and my favorite story about this move is that I came from a third world country where there's not a lot. It's not a land of plenty. There's only one kind of milk, one kind of bread, and
Right.
you walk into the grocery. My first time, I was like, whoa, there's all this good, so many choices. And I remember my sister-in-law, who moved first with my brother, his wife, told me, you will not starve here in the US if you're willing to work any job, because there's so many jobs. It's up to you. Just work hard and you will survive. I remember her telling me that, and to me, that is true, because it's a land of plenty, and the American dream is alive and vibrant in this country.
Yeah, no doubt. So I just so happened to be attending Sam and Brittany Vailala's wedding in San Jose. I don't know much about San Jose other than when we used to fly in and play San Jose State. But boy, Silver Creek Country Club. Holy smoke. Shout out Silver Creek Country Club. That place is nice. I've been to Beverly Hills, Westwood. I've been to Bel Air. I've been to some amazing places in San Diego. I just came back from Houston and the mansions out there. And San Jose was pretty plush, and the Silicon Valley is alive and well. It's kicking. And despite the fact of inflation, boy, San Jose's thriving. We even went to the Winchester mansion.
The Mystery House.
Yeah, the Mystery House, because we've been talking about it for years, but we happened to be there, so we looked it up and we went there. San Jose is amazing. So talk about that, right? I mean, so many people, especially from an immigrant perspective, right, Maria, it's like they see only the negatives and what they don't have. And then people like you and I come here and we're like, man, everything and anything is possible. You mentioned the types of bread, right? And the stuff that's like so easily accessible and readily available at our fingertips. Even now more than ever than when we first came here. Like you can just order stuff from your phone. It just pops up at your house. Amazon or mobile order just pop up. And if you're in the area, just talk about how the mindset of that is different for us, where we saw this as, man, there's opportunity everywhere. Where a lot of Americans, and not all of them, and I'm not trying to be negative against anybody in terms of their mindset, but there are a lot of people, even that you and I cross paths with, that only see the obstacles, that only see the challenges, that are not grateful to be in a country this great. Come on, perspective, right, Maria?
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember just looking back when I think about my first few months there, and just being overwhelmed with just everything that's available to me and the opportunities. I remember thinking, how do I quickly blend in? What do I need to learn? And language is number one, right? So, English is the second language in the Philippines. So, I constantly listen to people how they talk. And I started as a fry person, and the cashiers would have a microphone, and they would announce the order. And that's how I started listening to the words. I remember there's one word that I was so confused, and I still laugh about it to this day, because when it's zucchini, right? But when you spell it, it's zucchini. And in the Philippines, I would pronounce it as zucchini. And the first time I pronounced it, people were laughing at me, and I'm like, how did I say it? And they're like, it's zucchini. And so,
Right.
okay. I mean, so I had many instances where I was really trying to understand how do you say things, because if I read it, it would sound differently. That's one of my learnings. The other thing that I learned very quickly is driving around. Being able to drive a car, and because you want to be able to move around. And back in the Philippines, the driver's test was just like a breeze, but in US, it's a little bit more challenging. So I kind of failed it a couple of times before I finally got it. But those are when you go into a different culture and you just learn how people live and how people really get things done. At first, when you stop and think about it, it can be daunting. But as you're going through the process, it's actually very liberating, because you learn more about yourself and how you can cope with the different things that are thrown at you.
That's right. That's right. I love that, because it's the same thing as Tongans are the same thing, and we call it fob, right? Being fresh off the boat is what we call it, right? And so Plymouth, if you look at the word Plymouth, it looks like it says Plymouth,
Yeah.
right? So my cousins would come over, and they're like, "Hey, what kind of Plymouth that thing with that car right there, right?" Or filet mignon is filet mignon, What is this filet mignon thing right here, right? And so those are the challenges. And you heard me speak as we did your session in Las Vegas with your Southwest region in terms of, right? I think it's a mindset thing, right? Think, feel, do, how you see things and how you say things, right? It's a mindset. There's an emotional resolve and emotional intelligence involved. There's a performance base that's involved. There's a perspective involved, and effective communication. That's huge for everyone in every industry, right? And then even when I travel, come on, you just came back from Boston. I mean, Boston has the same English words for different. You go down south to Louisiana, Hotlanta, or Atlanta, or you go down to Texas. I mean, everything in terms of language is huge. Any final thoughts on language before we move on?
I think there's so much beauty in how people express themselves through different languages, even with the different accent. I think the one thing I learned is, if you're new to it, you tend to just kind of get put off. But I love hearing, I think you do too. I love hearing how the different words are expressed in different either languages or different accents. I think that's my biggest takeaway there.
Okay, so let's talk professional life. So you started off as a fry person.
Yeah.
Where was that? And talk us through, I mean, starting from that to now becoming the VP for the region and charged to expedite and create a spark and flame for what is really, the West Coast is really a Starbucks territory, right? And then now you're bringing a brand, Dunkin, that is, I mean, it is all over the place back east. So talk about starting as a fry person to the executive that you are now.
Yeah, I was really going for a master's in public health. Originally was thinking about becoming a doctor, but I do not have really good feelings about blood. So I ended up, my parents and I decided, okay, let's go for a master's instead. And so I had to take a part-time job, and I took this job. And from our tradition in the family, it's like, okay, you can go ahead and take that job, but you got to go back and pursue the master's. But
Right.
yeah, you know what I mean. So, but
Yep.
then I started really enjoying that teamwork environment, that camaraderie, and like high-fiving when you're doing a great job. And then and the unpredictability of the business. Every day is different, but at the end of the day, as long as the guest leaves happy and satisfied, you've done your part. And so I started enjoying that. So I went back and told my parents, I think I'm gonna move into business, because I tend to, it's very easy for me, and it's very natural for me to just work with people and teach people and learn from people. So I decided to shift my master's to an MBA, and started working through that. But throughout, my first 2 years, part of the survival is working two jobs and just trying to make it happen. I would work 5 a.m. till 11 at a gas station as a cashier, those island gas stations cashiers. You know what I'm talking. And so then after that, I'll run to the mall and work as a fry person or a cook at Carl's Jr. I did that for a good year and a half, and then as I started working, fortunately, my managers noticed that I'm a hard worker and started developing me to be a leader. I soaked that all in, because this is one way to learn how to be a leader, is on the job, and she taught me a lot of things. And every time I went into a new position, someone is there to teach me and welcome me and allow me to make mistakes, and I learned a lot because there were mentors who were willing to spend time with me as I moved my way up. But there's definitely a lot of hard work, but also at the same time, a lot of sense of fulfillment as I went through my career. Where I am now, the part that I enjoy the most is not only working with my team, but also working with franchisees. You've met my franchisees. They still talk about you, by the way. When I go out there, they ask me, how's Coach V? I said, oh, if you see him on LinkedIn, he's all over the place, making everyone, better in their lives. I said,
thank you for that.
So, just being able to be not just a bystander, but being part of their success, helping them, improve their business. It's there's a strong sense of fulfillment there. I like that role. In the past, I've had different roles where it's all about, making leading initiatives and making sure they're implemented in the stores successfully. That's also very very fulfilling, because you see the success in the stores. You see that it makes the employees' work life a lot easier, because you're helping simplify their day-to-day duties and responsibilities. Then of course, Dunkin is such a well-loved brand.
Yeah.
Now that bringing it to the West, everyone has a personal connection. Many people have a lot of personal connection with Dunkin. I have people come to me when I wear my gear. People come to me and tell me, back when I was young, my mother used to take me on a Saturday, and I always had the maple donut. There's always that special donut that is connected to their father or their mother, that really made a very strong memory in their mind. And so a lot of the people that are in the West that really are into Dunkin are usually move from the East. But then we have this new generation that just they like the drinks, they like the variety of products that they can get in Dunkin', that we're starting to attract more using digital. We have a really vibrant digital. Today is the first day we're testing. We're putting the California rewards, the new rewards, the Dunkin' rewards in California. So shout out to California for being the test state for the new rewards program for Dunkin'. There's just a lot of exciting things. What I like about Dunkin' is we stay relevant, we stay innovative, and we're always putting out a lot of fun out there for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're in Hobby. We're at the Hobby Airport. So first off, when I left you guys, I was going to Jack in the Box National.
Yeah.
And there was a dunk. We got off the plane in Honolulu. There's a Dunkin' deal right there at the Honolulu airport. Yeah. And I'm all, man, I gotta grab a coffee real quick. And then I'm at Hobby. We go from there to Houston, and I'm at Hobby Airport. And I just love the fact that they're like, because I love coffee. I just don't love the caffeine of it. I love the taste of it. I love the familiarity of the beginning of my routine. And I just enjoy coffee. But I even more enjoy at Dunkin' that they're like, would you like cream and sugar? And I don't have to put my own cream and sugar. Man, I love that. I love that. But talk about this, right? I really feel like in my community service for my nonprofit and what I do in terms of hosting events and what I do, it's very Tongan to care for people, to integrate food, to integrate some type of entertainment, jokes. I mean, that's just how Filipinos and Tongans, Polynesians, Hawaiians, Samoan, I mean, that's just how we roll. There's a combination of a hospitality that, and I'm not trying to say semantics and define the difference between service and hospitality, but I do find a level of how our people approach service, in which case Dunkin' does, is really caring like your home. This is where you find what you love. And in our culture where we bring people to our home and we give them food and we create entertainment and amazing engagement. I mean, that's what we do, right? Come on, Maria, right?
Yeah. I mean, isn't it also the other piece that we're known for is after once they're ready to leave, we even have stuff for them to take home.
To take home. That's right.
We have it all ready for them to take home and enjoy more. It's really an extension when we host these things. It's really an extension of how we express our warmth and love for our family and friends.
That's right. And how have you brought that? Because everyone. So I came to your meeting. It's my first time engaging and interacting with Dunkin', and I kind of just sat back and watched. Right, right, and everybody loves Maria. They love your team, your team, and obviously, your boy got some energy, and I bring my own vibe, right? But you guys all are on that same spectrum, listening, fully attentive to people. And they really love you, not just because you're a leader that listens, but you're a leader that makes sure that things are executed and performed on a high level and with high performance. Come on, Maria. Talk about that and how your team brings all those things together in service for the franchisees to create amazing customer experiences, right? So service profit model, chain model, right? Take care of your people take care of the customer. Come on, talk about that.
Yeah, but before I talk about that, I just want to take a step back and talk about you real quick, because I think I told you this, right? When we talked to you about being our keynote speaker, I really, typically I will talk to my franchisees and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. I really didn't talk to any of my franchisees. I was talking to my team, Rob and Lisa and Vince, and we're talking about what do we need in this meeting, because we haven't seen each other for 2 years. We haven't been together for 2 years. I've seen them in their pockets, but we haven't been together as a group, even before I joined. I mean, the last time they were together as a group was before when I was hired and I wasn't officially on board yet. So what do we need? And I said, we need someone who's like, who's like a coach, who's really gonna, cheer us on and let us know that it's all gonna be okay after this past 2 years. We're all gonna be okay. So I really was almost like if I was playing poker, I put my bets all in. I just kind of put it all in. I'm all in. I'm gonna put it all in on Coach V. And my God, Coach V, you delivered. I
I
still
appreciate it.
have goosebumps. All of us still talk about that, the exercise you put us all through. I look back there and everyone was doing it. And then how you went over every bullet point and had everyone read. You got everyone on their feet, you got everyone engaged. They still talk about it now. It really made everyone feel like we are invested in their success. You
Mm,
delivered, you brought it all in. And so I can't thank you enough. I can't, yeah, it's just, we are not over that experience yet. We're still talking about it. So now when I think about, the team and the franchisees, it's been a work of building and earning their trust and respect uh,
mm,
for the past 3 years under my leadership, and not only with the franchisees, but first and foremost for me with my team. I had to make sure that I earned that they will be very comfortable and they will feel safe to be themselves and
mm-hmm.
and really live the values that they really believe in. And so, investing some time with that, I think the pandemic helped us with that. And then translating that with the franchisees when we visit with them, when we go out and spend time with them. People tell me all the time when you do this job, oh, you don't need to spend so much time with all the franchisees. I mean, you just try to spend time with the big ones, and then if you have time left over, try to meet as many as you can. But we have 7, 8 franchisees, and we made it a point to connect with each and every one of them for the past 3 years. I mean, so we were traveling, my directors and I, we were traveling to different places, making sure that even if the franchisee has 1 or 2 stores, that we've connected with them, that they know that we value them as part of the Dunkin family. And that's why when we put these meetings together and they're there, there's a connection, there's a sense of belonging, because
Mm.
that did not happen overnight. That was built in, that was intentional. So when I put all my best in to you, I wasn't worried. I knew right away that if everything was all lined up, they will respond, and they did. But you did a phenomenal job, though. I mean, I like I said, to this day, I'm still blown away on how you did that. That was awesome.
Oh,
It
I
was just
look
great.
forward.
Yeah,
I
I
look
shared
forward to
it.
the
We
next
recorded
opportunity.
it, and we recorded the clapping, and I shared it to my peers. There were franchisees from other regions in that group that were like, "We want to do the same thing." So it was good. Thank you
Yeah, I
for
look
doing that.
forward to continuing serving when you guys feel appropriate. In that, let's talk about what are the challenges for your leadership and for you as a female executive, Filipino. There's not a lot of executives of Asian Pacific Island descent. And what are the current market challenges and challenges we're all facing, right? I mean, every brand that I coach, teach, and train has some type of hiring issues or
Yes.
some type of, with the whole COVID deal, just getting products and services delivered. They're lacking certain ingredients or short on certain things. Well, what is that in terms of challenges for you, Maria, that you face today?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when during the pandemic, we reduced our hours of operation because to adjust to the business, and now we're trying to get back on track, and it's challenging because the staffing part of it is hard. We've lost employees, and it's a little bit challenging to find new employees. Of course, when we have new employees, then they all need the training, so they all need time to get used to making the coffee and putting the donuts together, doing drive-through. So it takes a little bit more time to get back on track. So, and meanwhile, the business is still going. So sometimes there's a lot of inconsistencies, and we have to understand that part of the business and know that it's going to get better. Those are some of the major challenges. Supply chain, product availability. We would roll out some new products, but sometimes we run out because of some very good response, and then we need to wait until we get the next shipment delivered. So definitely staffing, definitely going back to hours of operation before the pandemic, definitely supply chain concerns out there. And now the inflation, people are starting to think twice whether they want to go out to eat or they just want to cook at home. Maybe they just want to make their own coffee instead of going out there and getting their usual latte. So there's some, there's right now, there's some, I hope it's temporary where people are having to stop and change their habits for the meantime in order to deal with the recession, the inflation that's going around, the high prices of gas and everything else out there.
Yeah. What about you, Maria? What are your personal challenges? How have you overcome them in terms of your leadership?
Yeah, as a female minority Filipino woman executive, it's always a challenge for me to come into a new environment and gain credibility, immediate credibility, right? So I've learned each time, but I've gotten better each time. And what has always worked for me is that kindness matters. Just being kind, being composed, not getting rattled. Allowing people to express themselves and let them and not responding in a way that just makes it worse for the situation. I think that has helped me a lot when I first joined Dunkin. It helped me a lot in gaining people's respect because I'm not going to, I'm not going to be rattled if people just get upset. I know there's always a solution for everything, and it's just a matter of talking through it and being professional and kind about the whole process. For me, kindness really goes a long way.
Yeah, and that's something in leadership that I don't think is talked about enough. Is this word poise? And if there's a framework for the listeners out there, here's a Coach V framework for success: is preparation, poise, and performance. It's 3 P's, right? Preparation, poise, and performance. Because poise tells us that whether we succeed or fail, we will adjust and move forward accordingly. Because there's so much pressure with this whole aspect of if I don't get this done, it's over. No, it's not like that. And then plus, if you are operating on a level of fear, anxiety, angst, or anything else that is negative, your own self-doubt, subscribing to the haters, right? The performance anxiety tells us that performance decreases as anxiety, fear, and negativity increase. So it's a weird deal where you have to just believe and not allow the outcome to now affect your performance because you're lacking poise and composure, like you're saying. Yeah. Come on, Maria. This is some real talk for life, leadership, business, sports, relationships, NFL, collegiate football, the championships I've been a part of at every single level, my marriage. There has to be a level of composure and poise that when we disagree, that we find common ground, that I don't sell my soul just because my wife wants to be happy and she doesn't sell her soul, but there's a level of poise and composure that allows us to communicate on higher levels to obtain an objective. Talk about how poise, kindness, whether they fucking deserve it or not, that we return kindness. Come on, not even just within our professional interactions, but see, we often skip that with our own family, our siblings, because they should know better. Our spouses, because they should know better, right? But they don't. This is how humans function. So we have to have this level of executive poise, executive composure, that now we allow the preparation to hit the performance stage, and then we would adjust according to the outcome, whether it be failure, mediocrity, not hitting the mark, that we can now adjust and move forward. Your thoughts on that, Maria?
Well, I think I couldn't agree with you more. And, many times when I see that the conversation is not going the trajectory of the conversation is not good, I just take a step back and call it out, so why are we going to this place? Are we not talking about it? as an executive, you have to take the high road,
Mm.
and just understand that it's not about your ego anymore. It's about, leading the people around you to be the best, of become the best of themselves, including franchisees, including your peers, including not only your team. So, that is hard sometimes, because they could be saying hurtful things towards you, but you have to have that self-conscious. You have to be aware that that is not, at that moment, it's not personal. It just came out, and you have to take the high road, and steer that conversation towards a more positive outcome or ending. Or maybe you just have to say, this is not the time to talk about it. Let's kind of put it on the shelf, and then let's revisit it at a better time when we're both in a cool moment, where our minds are both cool. And that has happened. And I'm always happy to see the other person, like, take a step back and almost like wake up and realize, yeah, you know what, you're right. And then it gets in a better place.
That's right. Because when negative emotions, I have never seen a positive or productive outcome come from being negative,
Yeah.
self-doubt. I just have never. And then I often tell my male executives that I coach that as a husband, um, be careful what you say, because forgiveness doesn't mean forgetness. Let me say that again. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetness. Boy, not just my wife, man, we will remember some things, and you cannot take it back. You can apologize all you want, but there's a tarnish on the relationship professionally and personally moving forward that you just can't take back.
Yeah.
Now you're living in some regret. You miss on optimizing opportunities forward, expediting processes faster, true or not true, and then we'll move from there. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, totally true. The other, that part is, you don't want to live in that regret. And I think you learn, you do it maybe in your young days, kind of,
Yep.
but then you start realizing you're losing really meaningful relationships because of that. And that's when you know that. I know for me, that's when I realized that I got to change my approach. This is not, it's not worth it. I want to preserve all the relationships I've made through the years, and because there's a lot of joy in being able to connect with people, and you don't want to miss out on that. I think
Yeah.
one of the other things I want to touch on, for a challenge as an executive, female executive, is finding my voice, right? Where you're in a room full of all kinds of people, and how do you find your voice? How do you how do you make an impact? And that's something that I learned earlier on, is really, and you do a really good job with that, Coach V. It's really, your beliefs, your values really have to dig deep. And then, it's when you're in a group discussion, it's really, you are participating because you want to add value, and you want to extend that discussion, that conversation, to a point where it really is value added. That's the thing that I've learned. And it's not about just saying something for the sake of saying something. It's really about saying something that you truly believe, because then it comes out as very authentic, and it's really going to drive whatever you're talking to a better place.
Oh, I am so glad you brought that up, because finding your voice means that your self-talk is also respectful to yourself, that you know who you are, and your actions and your words are consistent in terms of conveying what's congruent and aligned with your beliefs, your value systems. And it's really hard for people that can't convey and bring out their voice in corporate settings, is because they lack the ability to really truly connect with themselves. Like you said, then when it comes out, it's inconsistent, inauthentic, not congruent. And so you could say whatever you want that's universally trusted, but if it's misaligned with what your actions and performance are. So that's the tricky part of being an executive. right? That the position holds authority, but your actions and what you do tells us everything about you. Come on, Maria. Come on, Maria. Come on,
Yeah,
right?
I always tell people, I feel when I go out to the stores, when I visit teams, when we're in that meeting, I'm on stage. So everything about me is being
Mm,
translated, right? So if you are not, I love what you said, if you are not congruent with your values and yourself, I mean, it's gonna be like you're gonna give out conflicting messages,
right.
right? And so it's really important, but it takes some work to get there, self-reflection. But once you're there, it's a wonderful thing. You see how people react, and you get the same thing from people, and that's where that authenticity comes out, right?
Yeah, I love that. So in that, talk about a couple of things that I talked about, right? I talked about creating buy-in and winning hearts and minds. Ooh, two different things. Two different things, right? Same thing, but very different. Because I believe that winning hearts and minds, people trust you.
Yeah.
They trust your actions, right? And so creating buy-in is because you do this for me, so I'm going to do this for you because there's a transaction involved. I believe that um, buy-in is a byproduct of winning hearts and minds. Loyalty increases, productivity increases. I've seen this across the board, and this is what the studies say. People are more engaged. Retention increases when people feel because you won their heart and mind by developing them to be the best human being for personal growth, advancing them for professional advancement, more opportunity. Here's the path to greater money, greater title, greater responsibility within the company, and telling people you appreciate them. Your thoughts on that? Your thoughts?
Winning hearts, people's hearts and minds. It's that's a commitment, right? I mean, you
Mm,
cannot take it lightly. It really is very intentional and purposeful, and it's not it's not selective. I mean,
mm.
it's everyone
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you interact with, because whether there's going to be a benefit to it or not, it's that experience, it's that journey that actually is worth the intention. So the how you're going through it is really what's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That whole process itself, yeah, the byproduct is you wander hearts and minds, and you create buy-in, but it's that time that you're doing it is what's really, to me, the win in that whole experience.
Yeah, very good. I agree. So let's take coming over, immigrating to San Jose, being a friar at Carl's Jr., developing, switching, changing paths from maybe going to the medical field to now an MBA, going into business, getting your opportunities and climbing the ladder in the executive corporate world in terms of QSRs, right? Quick service chains, restaurants, and the food industry. Take all of that, and then now, what would be Maria Hollandsworth a message to the world? What would your message to the world be?
Wow, that's deep. I think there's so much that life has to offer, and it is just really up to you to make that choice. And it's not about what other people have or what they're doing. It's really about what truly brings joy in your heart. It what makes you wake up every day and look forward to living your life. I mean,
Mm,
because a lot of times we're in a world of a lot of materialism and a lot of things in front of us, but and you can get drowned into that noise. But what I learned through the years is really, what is it that makes you happy, and what is it that makes you wake up every day and look forward through the day and living your life with. And so there's so many different, and you can make a whole list of that, and you will realize, yeah, those are the things that make, those are the moments, those are the times when I'm very, very happy, and I just love the life that I live.
That's awesome. In that now, let's talk about your current projects and objectives for Executive Maria Hollandsworth. What is that?
Um, for my personal growth, I'd
Personal
like to,
growth, and what are
yeah.
the big projects, and what's the mission and the vision moving forward for you? Whichever you can share for the brand. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, I really want to continue to expand Dunkin brands in the West and the Southwest, continue to uh, go into the communities, because a lot of people are asking, when are you going to come to my city? When are you going to come to my street? So continue to do that. It's not only for the brand, but also for the workforce, to be able to provide employment to those communities, and
Mm.
continue to grow the brand. That's the main goal. We want to double our numbers as soon as we can. Um, and then just with my team, continue to build their skills and their capabilities, so they grow within the company and become leaders of the. We need more leaders for to grow the future of the brand. So I'd love for them to continue their development. For my franchisees to uh, continue to uh, help us strengthen our partnership together, so we can support them and work with them side by side and help them be more successful. Those are, the biggest objectives for the region there. And then now that we're part of Inspire, to be able to help the other brands as well, work with the other brands and learn from them, as well as for them to learn from us in the West, what we're doing and what we can do better, and what they're doing that we can learn from, that we can apply to our region.
Could you please share with the audience the acquisition of Dunkin with Inspire Brands, and what are some of the other brands that Inspire
Yeah,
Brands is working with? Could you introduce? Because not many people are like you and I, where I know Inspire Brands on the
yeah,
other brands. Please talk about that.
sure. So Inspire has under the Inspire umbrella, we have Arby's, Sonic Burgers, we
Hmm.
have Dunkin' and Baskin Robbins, we have Jimmy John's,
Yeah,
uh, and then we have Rusty Taco, and I think that Buffalo Wild Wings.
yeah.
And then there's an eighth brand, which is the Buffalo Wild Wings Go, which is the express version of Buffalo Wild Wings. So you can just go in and get the wild wings, and then get out. You don't have to sit down and have a drink and have the wings. So it's 8 brands.
Wow, that is huge.
Yeah, it's based out of Atlanta, and we cover many day parts through the day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night.
Ice cream,
Ice cream, ice cream.
man. That to this day, and I love all kind of ice cream. I think my top three is like Rocky Road, World Class Chocolate, but that Praline and cream and a waffle cone at Baskin Robbins, man, I am willing to do extra cardio for 2 scoops of that any day. I love that. And talk about now some shout outs. Who would you like to shout out here on the Coach V show before we put Maria Hollandsworth on the Coach V hot seat? Who would you like to shout out?
Shout out to my team in the Southwest West region, Rob, Vince, and my business consultants. Shout out to, of course, my family, my husband, Jeffrey, my mom, and my siblings. They're all out there having a great time with their lives. Shout out to my peers at Dunkin as well, and my franchisees, all 7, 8 of them out there, busy figuring out where they could put more Dunkins. Really appreciate all the work that they're doing. And shout out to you, Coach V, for making people's lives better every day, hour by hour, minute by minute. I love all your postings. you're such a like your soul. Is so positive. It's just so contagious. I mean, I'm lucky to know you. I'm lucky to be able to spend time with you.
And no, I feel the same about you. And you know the deal, Maria. The so-called expert that I am now is because my ass has failed so much in my 30s and doing it the wrong way. It's hashtag real talk, hashtag real talk. And so with the help of really in my faith and my family
Yeah.
and my wife in my adulthood, um, no one has made a bigger professional impact on my life than my wife and my kids. You know, it gets real when now people really do believe and love you. And you know, they told a guy like me that my type of what they call motivation won't work in the corporate world. And you saw me. I
Oh,
am very hood, but I'm very professional. You know, I keep it real. I just said, come on, Maria, right?
I love it. It's unique, very unique, and it's you. That's it. And no one else can do it. Only you can do it.
So shout out to all your shout outs and shout out to the entire Inspire brand, to all the franchisees that are watching that was with us in Las Vegas, and particularly your team. Just amazing folks. And I look forward to our fellowship together to really expanding and as it is appropriate for you guys that I come back and help in any way that I can, it would be my pleasure too. So now we have gotten to the point here on the Coach V Show. If you're just joining us, we're on with Maria Hollandsworth, who is an executive VP with the Southwest West brand for Dunkin' Donuts for Under Inspire out of Atlanta, Georgia. And so we are here talking life, leadership, and business. If you're listening on the Dash Radio app, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening on Facebook Live or on Spotify for the podcast or on the Coach V Facebook page, thank you so much for tuning in. We now have Maria going on the Coach V hot seat. Maria, your first question on the Coach V hot seat. When I say Filipino egg rolls, and I talk about lechon, and I talk about sinigang, and I talk about like what are the dishes that if people don't know that Filipinos are engaged in and they are invested in, what should we go out and look to eat from the Filipinos, from the Philippines, and for all my Filipinos out there?
My favorite is kare kare, and that
Okay.
is like a peanut-based beef dish with some tripe and a whole bunch of vegetables.
Okay.
There is caldereta, and that usually is made with goat, but it can also be made with beef. That is a tomato-based stew, really, really good. The I don't know if you've heard of dinogoan. That is the pork blood dish. We call it
Oh yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
had that before.
And back in college, when I used to prepare for a chemistry exam, I would eat balut. Have you heard of balut?
I've heard of balut.
Yeah, that's a pure protein. Before an egg hatches, it's picked out and then it's made into balut. I don't know how they make, but I like it, so it's really good. A whole bunch of desserts. We have biko, which is a sticky rice dessert that is
Oh,
very famous with some coconut, fried coconut on top. We have bibingka, which is what is served during Christmas. There's a 9-day mass novena and then we go out. You can buy bibingka or tamales. We have a Filipino version of tamales, really
mm-hmm.
good. So yeah, there's a lot of food, a lot of good food that you can try.
Okay. To my boy Joseph, my boy Joy Coy. Joy Coy, you out there? Man, I don't know you, but when we connect, we better be serving up all this kind of food right here, man. Joe Coy is funny as heck. Shout out to Joe Coy. Come on, Maria. You seen Joe Coy?
Yeah, he's got a movie, right? Easter Sunday or something.
Yeah, it just came out like a couple Fridays ago. Yeah. Have you seen it yet?
No, but I am. I've been out of town, but I am looking forward to seeing it. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Let's talk about when I say this quote, and you heard me say it before, what comes top of mind to Maria Hollandsworth here on the Coach V Show? Life is struggle. Struggle is life. Misery is optional. What do you think about when I say that phrase, the Coach V quote, life is struggle?
the struggle is beautiful because that's where you learn what life is all about.
I love that. I love that because I just came back from a wedding and they had me MC. They had your boy MC. I haven't MC'd a wedding ever in my life, right? So my aunt's like, because you can talk, you're going to be the MC. Yes, auntie. So I said, talking about life struggle, right? There's the thought of being married. There's planning the wedding, and then there's being married. The struggle of that makes you the best person you can really be. Come on. There's the thought of having children. There's a thought of then birthing children and then raising children, right? There's a thought of family. There's a thought of what a family should look like. And then there's the struggle of being family. I can't stand half my cousins and my brothers and sisters most of the time. Come on. But it is that struggle that really forges the best of us and makes us, right? It is that path of struggle and success together that really maximizes the opportunities that we're able to attract and earn in the future. Come on, Maria. Last
I mean, that's exactly. I mean, like you said, in your 30s, you made a lot. That was a struggle, but look where you are now. Look how much your impact in the world. Just think about that. It's all part of the struggles. That was the outcome of all those struggles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Let's talk about there's money in the transaction, but the wealth is in the relationships. What are your thoughts on that?
You're gonna give me goosebumps. When you first told me that when we did our prep, I wrote it down, and I never told you this, but when the day before the meeting, I sent an email to the entire team, not only my direct reports but also the cross-functional. And I used that as a coach, as a quote. And I told them we will be hearing from Coach V, and this is his quote, which I think is just so appropriate in the franchise, business and franchise industry, right? I love that quote because we tend to forget about the relationship part of it because we get so engulfed in the money part of it, but I don't know. How did you come up with that, by the way? I mean, I took
awesome. Everybody else's quote and tried to figure out the fob way of saying it, and then I made it into English.
Because it's just dead on, like spot on quote. I love it. Yeah.
And then the other one is because when I started first engaging with Jack in the Box 5 years ago, I ran back into your boy, Ben Aramia. Bashir, shout out to my Pomona brother Bashir.
Shout out to Bashir.
And he was the one too that really solidified to me that what I coach, teach, and train can be not only accepted but deployed and create higher productivity within companies, because he said this term: we are all in the people business. Yeah. So I've heard it in different ways. And I already had that quote. So then I deployed that into my messaging more often, because we really are a product of not just our environment, but our relationships, right?
Yeah.
And it's stuck. And now I'm making T-shirts and hats for my conferences in the future. So I'm trademarking it. I got these lawyers, man. It takes more money. I'm like, man, the T-shirt's gonna be $20. How much do I gotta pay to trademark this thing? Oh, you gotta pay for this and for that. We're at like $5,000 just to trademark one quote, Maria. Man,
you deserve it, though. I mean, it's so special. I mean, it's you. I love it. I've never heard it before, and it's just so well said. Very nice job there.
So when I say this, and you guys talk about winning and winning all the time, right? At Dunkin, and you use that term, that's a win. That would be a win for us. But I always talk about, winning never gets old and losing absolutely sucks. What comes top of mind when I say that, Maria?
Well, losing, prepares you for the next stage of how to win. It's not bad. It's okay to lose sometimes, but only sometimes.
Real talk.
You gotta learn from your mistakes and get ready to win next time. That's what I think about that.
And lastly, in terms of the Coach V hot seat, Tell us how integral your faith has been in your success, your progress, your achievements, your family, and everything that you've achieved. How big has your faith been in that, Maria?
It's top of mind. Everything I do, even before our call today, before we started at 11, I said a little prayer. It's every minute of my life. I'm saying something just to reinforce, that everything is up to God. Everything to me is up to my faith. I'm very blessed that my parents instilled that in me and my
Mm,
siblings because it's so much a part of our lives that I cannot live without my faith. I am who I am because of my faith. And if it wasn't for my faith, it gives me a lot of courage and hope and zeal for life. I am not, I am here because of my faith.
oh, I love that. I love that. And my encouragement to those people as we talk about faith, because I do realize that there's no way that a Tongan brother who couldn't speak English can really achieve the type of things it is that I have been able to achieve. I call it amazing grace, unmerited and undeserved favor. Yes, I've had to do some work and connect some dots in terms of now attracting success, earning success. But what we're both here saying is if you're Buddhist, subscribe, fully commit. It's amazing when you fully
Yeah,
commit. If you're Muslim or Islam,
yeah,
is your deal. Whatever that faith may be, we're not trying to direct a particular
yeah,
person to go in, but whatever that is, we have found that when we fully committed in faith, where you looked up and you found, man, I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to go anyway. We don't know how we're going to make it in the United States of America because my parents were not ultra wealthy, but we were pretty wealthy in Tonga. And but coming here and then deciding to stay here and then overstay our visa and try to figure it out with the immigration department was kind of scary because they could deport us at any time. But we're like, hey, look, we got sponsors. How can we just stay here and make this work? Man, there was a lot of fear, and only faith carried us through that. So thank you for sharing your faith in that. And we got about 2 minutes. What is your final word before your boy Coach V closes out the show? Do you have a final word?
I think, just to everyone, just live your life to the fullest.
Mm,
You only get one, right? And so uh, do your best to be the best amongst people around you, people you love, and you know, share that with everyone around you.
thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for coming on the Coach V show. And to everyone who's tuned into this episode, I know that you've gained some value because I've taken some notes. And I'm a big fan of Maria's from the very first time. I already had a high expectation because shout out to Bashir Ben Aramia. When he connects me with particular people, they're really high level individuals personally and professionally. They
Oh,
really
thanks.
operate on a high performance base and level. So I did have high expectations, and she not only met them and her team, but really exceeded it. And then I met the franchisees as well. And I think the Southwest West region is in good hands. And for those areas like a Boise, Idaho, right? Like certain areas of Nevada that don't have a
Yeah,
Dunkin', it's coming. It's coming because America runs on Dunkin'.
that's
And shout
right.
out to all the brands because I work with Starbucks too. Hey, you know the deal. Let's compete. Let's do our best, right? And let's bring value to the American society and its citizens and communities to make their lives better through what we do. Right, Maria?
That's right.
That's
Awesome.
right.
Well
So here we
said.
go. So thank you all for tuning into this episode. And Maria and I just don't get on these shows just for us to talk about just plainly and simply success. It's beyond that. It's really for the sake of you being your best. In doing so, you realize that the best of your abilities and that everything that you work, pray, and don't quit on, you can achieve. This is how Maria Hollandsworth and your boy Coach V lives, all about faith and family, grateful for God's amazing grace. Until next Motivation Monday, thank you so much again for everybody worldwide tuning in here to the Coach V Show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise on Island City, where the beach meets the streets. Until next time, peace.
Bye, everyone.